Welcome to another episode of the Freedom Lovin' Podcast. This is Kevin, and this is episode number 68. And today's going to be more like an in-between episode, as Tim Ferriss would say. I want to talk about one of the chapters in the Harry Browne book, How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World, and that's about the burning issues trap. And I just have a few things to cover before that. So I do have I think I have 3 ratings and reviews on iTunes, which is really exciting. So really appreciate you guys coming in and giving us those ratings and reviews. And I am still going to be buying you that cup of coffee. So look for a Starbucks card. The people that emailed me, I have their information. Otherwise, I think there was one that came in that I did not get an email on, but appreciate that anyway. Okay, so the first one is good mix of online marketing info and general philosophy. 5 stars from Cali Therapy, and that's Cali with a K. Kevin shares his experiences in online marketing and business. I appreciate that he shares both his successes as well as his failures. Kevin's business advice is very practical, and his guests are usually pretty interesting as well. I like how he ties his business ventures into his overall political and existential philosophy. I wish I had found this podcast sooner. Well, thanks so much. That's great to read. The next one is Love Freedom Lovin', 5 stars, TJ55555. I have been in a career rut with plummeting income for the last 3 years. Determined to get my imagination and hopes back, I searched for inspiration. This podcast has been a godsend. Kevin is great because he is evolving, more like the buddy just a little further up the cliff than a guru on top of the mountain. Kevin is able to help by talking about his recent experiences with what I'm climbing around now. His podcast perfectly mixes philosophy, notions, results, and imagination firing nuggets. Wow, that is an awesome review. TJ, I really appreciate that. And I hope you're one of the ones that emailed me, so I'll definitely get you that gift card. And then the last one is awesome if you crave more freedom. 5 stars by Nate the Wanderer. And I think I know who this is, but I'm not 100% sure. I think this is my buddy Nate that travels around the world constantly. And I love his Facebook posts because he's always got pictures from all kinds of unique places. But he says, Kevin is a location-independent entrepreneur with a desire to get others to have more freedom in their lives. He wants people to be able to have the lifestyle that they desire. This podcast, which combines both Kevin's experiences in business as well as interviews with others, is designed to help the listener think of what lifestyle would best suit them. Combining business, travel, and freedom, this podcast will get your creative juices flowing. Well, thanks so much, Nate. And if anyone did post a review in the last week or so, and I didn't read it just now, it's possible that sometimes iTunes doesn't show all the reviews, so I don't know what to do about that, but it's unfortunate because I know that sometimes I post reviews for other shows and then they just never show up. So that's too bad. But anyway, if you did post a review, please email me, connect with me on Facebook, find me on Facebook, friend request me, and then just shoot me a quick note and let me know what you're up to. And if you did post a review, that would be awesome. So moving on. So just a quick podcast I wanted to recommend. My friend Mario Brown, who is here in San Diego, just started a podcast, and it's called Missionpreneur Podcast. And I'm really excited about it. He just started it, so he's got like 3 episodes up. But it is looks to be one of the better of all the business podcasts that I'm aware of, and it'd probably be up there in my top 3 or something at least. So I like what he's doing. He's a really good guy. He's really straightforward. He's got a really, really great way of presenting business information, and he's kind of targeting people that want to start a lifestyle business or a location-independent business that maybe don't have the skills right now but want to learn. And he looks like he's going to be teaching some really cool stuff on his show and getting some guests. Like I think he has a format where he does different things, like there's like 3 a week, and it's different for each podcast. So one day is a guest, one day it's like Q&A, and another day he's teaching something. It's something like that. So anyway, I'm pretty stoked on that. So I recommend that if you want to look it up, Missionpreneur Podcast. Just real briefly on, I just got back last week from a trip to North Carolina, Tennessee, and Austin, Texas. And it was a really awesome trip, and I had that kind of feeling when I got back where when you have a great visit somewhere and then you get back like home and you feel kind of down. I had that this time, and it was weird because it wasn't when I first got back. It was like maybe 24 hours later. I just felt this sinking, low feeling, but I've had it before, so I know that that's one of those things where you just have to accept it and deal with it, and it eventually just kind of fades away, and not to get too caught up in a feeling like that. But that means the trip was really great, and I loved visiting North Carolina. I thought it was a really beautiful place. It's super green, and it's Tennessee as well. I visited a cousin there, or a few cousins actually, in Johnson City, Tennessee, and that was a really interesting place. It was actually a lot nicer than I would have anticipated, and I just loved all the green, all the trees, and the drive from North Carolina to Tennessee was beautiful over the rolling hills and the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I did a whole bunch of things. I visited Raleigh, North Carolina. Seems to be booming. Not my probably number one choice of place that I would live, but overall, I went to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where UNC is, and that was just a super nice town. And in Chapel Hill, I got to meet up with my friend Chris Stefanik, and I was on his show, his Choice Conversations podcast, about a year and a half ago. And we finally got to meet in person, which was great. He lives in Raleigh, or outside of Raleigh, and works in Chapel Hill. So we had dinner there and walked around town a little bit. And a really cool guy and really interesting. And I'm definitely going to have him on the show here on the Freedom Lovin' podcast. So that will be coming up sometime soon. And the weather seems like it's pretty good there generally. I think they get a little chilly in the winter and a little humid in the summer. But it was, a lot of days were like 70 degrees with a lot of sunshine. And I really enjoyed it. And so got back and then went over I visited Asheville. So I was there probably a total of about 3 days in Asheville, and that's a really neat little mountain town. It's kind of known for breweries, and it's got a really cute downtown. It is kind of a hippie town, so definitely for North Carolina, it's really hippie, and it's got a lot of unique little characteristic shops and restaurants and things like that. I didn't really do the nightlife too much, but I did a hike there in the Blue Ridge Mountains from Asheville, and it was really, really nice. And I had pictures that I posted on Facebook. Some of them came out really good. There's like all kinds of like little rivers and lakes, and it's it's a beautiful part of the world for sure. I think that as far as living there, I would have a little tough times. It's not only is it small. I think the population of Asheville is about 85,000 people, but you're not really that close to any big cities. Charlotte, I think, is about 2.5 hour drive, and Raleigh, I think I forgot, it was like 3.5 hours, I think, to Raleigh. So it would be tough for me because I like the cities, I like all the action that happens in bigger cities. So, but it's definitely worth a visit if you are have any chance to do that. I would do it. And then anyway, I went to Austin and visited some friends there. It was really great catching up. The weather was absolutely ideal. Austin in late April is absolutely amazing. Probably like 82 degrees each day with sunny skies. So it was really great to get away like that, and it was really great to come back now. And I want to talk today about I want to do some of these shorter episodes on some of the issues that Harry Browne brings up in his book about freedom, because I think they're really important in addition to learning from different people that are doing different types of businesses or different types of lifestyles that bring them freedom. I think the philosophy behind this is so important, because if you don't have it, sometimes it can be more difficult to generate the lifestyle that you want. This one it's chapter 11 in the How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World book. And I'm actually looking at it on my friend's site. It's called ultimatefreedomquest.com. That's Jeremy Franzen, who has been on this show before, and he did a great job summarizing, I think, all of the chapters in How I Found Freedom. And so I like to refer to his site because it's easier than pulling up. I have a PDF copy of the book, but it's on an old computer, so I have to open up that old computer and find it and then transfer it. So instead, I just go to the site, and it's got everything on it, and he's got his own summary. So I'll read the highlights here of the chapter and what is the burning issues trap. So the burning issues trap, he says, to be free, you must know what you're doing and why. Otherwise, slight setbacks can cause you to discard your plans and give up. So the burning issues trap is the belief that there are compelling social issues that require your participation. You can enslave yourself by assuming a responsibility to observe, judge, and correct any social problems. For the problems will continue indefinitely. They'll never be resolved to anyone's satisfaction. The demands upon your time, energy, and money can never cease. Campaigns for social change are excellent examples of the indirect alternative, working through others to get what you want. Your success depends on the responses of literally thousands of people. Your control over the situation is minute. The existence of evil isn't a claim upon you. Evil, in quotes, will always exist in the world. To accept as a principle that you must fight something because it's evil is to believe you must fight anything that's evil. There's no end to the number of evils that could command your attention. Is that all your life is for, to spend it fighting evil? Questions. But you can get a better perspective on the issue if you ask yourself a few questions. 1. How much do you really know about the issue in which you're about to get involved? 2. How do you know the solutions sought will end the problem? 3. Is the issue really of significance to you? 4. Is it possible that you're responding to social pressure rather than genuine concern over the issue? The last section is solving problems. If an issue concerns you, there are both direct and indirect alternatives available to you. The indirect alternative is to try to change the prevailing social trend, which involves changing others. The direct alternatives are the ways by which you can handle the problem so that it doesn't affect you personally. Ask yourself what you would do if you were sure that you couldn't change the attitudes of others. What then would you do by yourself to keep the problem from affecting you? If you approach it on that basis, you usually find that there are many more direct alternatives available than you'd noticed while you were busy trying to change others. You're not going to live forever. Well, I don't know about that. With the years ahead of you, why not start now to concentrate on making your life as meaningful, free, exciting, and joyous as possible? You are the most important issue in the world. What happens in the social issues is only incidental. To concentrate on them is to approach the matter much too indirectly. What you do directly for yourself will have a far greater impact on your life than what you do in response to the burning issues of society. Make your life the issue. Yeah, that's a really great point. And that just really drove it home for me when I was kind of going through some of my own philosophical changes. And I think that one thing you can do is, and maybe you're different, but on my Facebook, when I open up my Facebook, I see story after story after story of things that are happening in the world that are bad. And there's nothing I can do about them. So it kind of frustrates me because I'm reading about some cop brutalizing somebody, or some political issue, like some politician ran away with a bunch of money, or just endless war stories, or whatever it is. And there's absolutely zero I can do to change these situations, but yet I'm supposed to get all up in arms. I'm supposed to share these stories, comment. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but it really is a waste of time. I just opened up my Facebook, and I'm just pulling up what's the first story. Okay. Here's one. Very few things terrify me as much as the privatization of water. A thirsty company in a hungry town. Nestle wants Oregon water, but does Oregon want Nestle? Okay, so there's one. I'm supposed to be really upset about that. Okay, some ads, and then puppies. Puppies are good. Oh, here's one. Mysterious lights spotted south of San Diego. This is a San Diego friend of mine, and so it looks like there was a UFO. So I should be wondering about this UFO that I have no way of proving what it was, but it likely has a more reasonable explanation than a unidentified object. Let's see, where's another one? Lamborghini crashes in Chicago's suburbs. Okay, that's too bad. Someone lost a lot of money, maybe got hurt, maybe someone died, and there's nothing I can do. So let's find one more. Labor unions and the Chinese Exclusion Act. Anything peaceful. The foundation for economic education. Today marks the anniversary of two great human tragedies. A famous German Zeppelin crashed 78 years ago when it caught fire, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to be mad about here, but it's, I guess, these horrible things that have happened with here in the U.S. that some people got discriminated against. So yeah, I mean, you could just see there's just a ton. This happened. This is all day long, every day, and you don't have to open up Facebook. You can just turn on your radio, turn on your TV. That's even worse, and you'll just hear something to get angry about. So the burning issues trap, I think, is really important when you're trying to seek out freedom. And I found that the more I get away from burning issues, the happier and the more free I am. And this is what, in my personal life, this has really proven to be true in just day-to-day life, not just Facebook and media and things like that, but also in going around, like I was traveling around, all these different places and talking to different people. And inevitably, somebody is going to bring up some issue that is possibly inflammatory, or maybe it's just slightly controversial. And I find that trying to convince them of something, whoever this person is, trying to convince them of your way is such a waste of time. It takes time, it takes emotional energy, and you're never going to convince them anyway, because the whole thing about a man convinced against his will be of the same opinion still is so true. And so trying to convince people of things, you just run into the problem of wasting your time, wasting their time, and burning up a lot of energy that you can save to do other things. So I find that the better approach is to just avoid it. And of course, if it's friends and you want to have a spirited debate, or you just want to chat about stuff, that's all good. But in general, getting in and trying to change people, and Harry Brown points something out that's really important too here, is that a lot of times these social burning issues are things where you have to change many people's minds. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people have to change their minds in order for your thing to happen. And you think about that whole expression about changing someone's opinion on something and how hard that is. So if you can't do it with one person, you likely can't do it with one person. How in the world are you going to do it with 1,000 people, or 10,000, or 100,000, or 1,000,000 people? That's just impossible. So you spend your life worried about these issues and having no control over them. So Harry Brown offers the direct solution, acting in a direct way. So what is it that you can change in your life? What is it that you can improve that can make you happier and more free? So that's where I've been focused on for the last few years, is always looking at, like, okay, so I'm not making as much money as I'd like to. What can I do about that? Can I get someone to lower some taxes so that I can pay less in taxes? Or can I work harder on something, or create something that's going to make some money? Or, another example would be, like, people are all fired up in California about this drought thing, and it's kind of a phony issue. It's a made-up issue. I mean, there is a drought, but the idea that the government needs to ration water for individuals is, absolutely crazy. So, because there's already enough water right now that we don't have, that nobody has to ration water. But I mean, that's a whole other issue, and that's something that do I want to get out there and fight the governor and explain to everybody why this is ridiculous, and convince them that we need to vote somebody else in, or get the law changed or something like that? No, because how is that going to help my life? How am I going to affect that kind of change? I'm really not. So I'm better off, whatever it is that's affecting me, whether it's I don't have enough money to pay for the extra water, then I just need to make more money. And if it's something else, I don't like the town that I'm living in, maybe they do it differently than another town, then I need to move. So that's where the direct action is just so much better than taking the indirect burning issues route. So that's all I had for today. I really appreciate you listening in. If you want to leave a rating and review for the show, I'd really appreciate it. And I'm still going to offer that cup of coffee. So if you do happen to leave a rating and review, just make sure you connect with me on Facebook, and I will send you over a gift card and to get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So just let me know, and I'd love to hear from you. And hope you have a great week, and go out there and build some freedom, and we'll talk to you soon.